When I actually make my cut on the front, I'm going to try and get it to where it comes around and it actually cuts off just before the disconnect, so I can actually have still a quick disconnect. You won't even be able to see it. The bumper actually comes down a little ways right here, right above the signal, and I would like to somehow, if I can ghost these bolts to where if anything happens to my front bumper, it comes off, it won't take the body kit with it, or it won't take any of the fiberglass, crack the fiberglass with it. So I'm actually going to try and cut and leave this quick disconnect in here. So just in case I don't have it on the trailer, or if I go like, you know, around town where it's kind of sketchy and I want to do, you know, I want to go to Mexico anytime, I can actually take off my front bumper still with this kit on, and there'll be a front piece still hanging off. If I do any crash or anything, it won't completely destroy everything. So on the back panel, I always kind of give it about 3 to 4 inches from when I cut to where the line is on the outside. But if you do feel more safe, I would recommend putting the piece on and looking underneath and seeing the room that you have on where you can kind of cut, or where you can draw. Like, you can actually reach a marker up and underneath here when you put your panel on, and you can see how far you need to cut or mark it that way. I just kind of go ahead and give it about 4 inches, and then I go ahead and make my cut. This is a little bit different than the back. Let me show you. On the back, we have the two-piece where you have to cut it in. This quarter panel actually doesn't have that. It's only a one piece on the panel, so you only have to make one cut. And yeah, this is for, you know, running heavy camber or a bigger wheel in the front. But right now, actually, what I'm going to do is put my bumper on, so that way I know the perfect markings or where the front fiberglass is going to go. You know, put my bumper on as normally would, so I can get the right measurements. Well, here's kind of a small thing that I learned, or not really a bump in the road, because my dressing bolts, these guys right here, will actually cover it. Let me see if I can get it to focus on it. Looks like it's chipped, but it's actually not. It didn't mess up the fiberglass, it's just the white stuff on the outside kind of cracked. Actually, I was pushing too hard, and I wasn't letting the drill eat. So, it only got like 2 of them, but this one, I seem to take a lot longer. You can see this one's a lot more clean. If it would focus. I seem to take a lot longer with this one, let the drill kind of do the spinning. I think I was either just getting into a weird rush or in a hurry and trying to get them all. So you got to make sure that you let your drill do the cutting and don't push and try and force it. Okay, now that I have one bolt in, holding it kind of up in the general direction, once your first drill is in, it's the most important one, because that's pretty much where it's going to lay out your hole. And this is kind of another the way I was telling you about, if you're kind of unsure with your cuts and how far you want to make your mark and where your cut's going to be, you can always look under here, and in between these 2 cracks, between where the fiberglass is and where the quarter panel is, you can actually have a marker and see how much you're supposed to cut by reaching the marker up under there. Make sure it's like a an expo marker or something, and then you can map it out, take it off, make the cut, and then just put it back on. Also, I forgot to mention that when you're making your cut, or you're even drilling out your holes for the rivets, always make sure that there's nothing from behind there. I have nothing on my G on both sides, but I would always just check to make sure first that you're not going to hit anything electrical. Okay, so I've run into a little bit of a problem with doing the buttoning first, but this one, when I go to grab it, there's no there's really any room for my hand to fit under there to put the bolt in the back side. So I think what I'm going to do is back all these off, make the cut, and then finish it all up, because once I make the cut, I'll be able to push up under farther so I can put my hand in there and it'll fit. Okay, so now we can kind of see the holes. You can actually, now that I've drawn the mark on the outside and I've put the holes in, you can actually kind of get more of a visual or understanding of where the fiberglass is going to be laid. So I'm pretty sure at this point, once you've already measured it out, put the holes in, put your outside mark out, you should be a lot more comfortable with cutting into this bad boy. This one was just a kind of a more deeper understanding of showing you if you do feel a little scared to cut. This is gonna, you can see it right now. You can see like exactly where everything goes. So I'm gonna make my trace and make my cut. All right, here's a trace out. It should give me plenty of room for me to either go lower or just put big all around bigger tire in there. Also, I could be able, my turn radius would be a lot more farther. I want to keep the front end with the quick disconnect on, so that's going to be hidden underneath of it. But if I'm having fitment problems and I can't turn me without that, then so be it. I'll actually, I'll cut that out. I'll just go straight down like this, and still make sure that the bumper is grabbing on. Worst comes to worst, if I have to do the method of not being able to disconnect my front bumper, I actually have somewhere in these boxes here, yeah, here they are. I have bumper support, or a type of support. It's perfect for the bumper. You can actually see the end. This would support, the front all around. One of the steps that I do next is I try and look for imperfections in the shape of the fiberglass. And what I'll do is I'll fit everything on the way that I think it needs to be. Go with a Sharpie and mark out all the imperfections. But you can just see the imperfections that I'm going to be. Here's the bows, or some of the parts that I'm going to need to sand down and mark. Alright, so now that I got this side done, you're pretty much just going to imitate, what I've done on this side to the other side. The only difference is the other side, the back side, actually has a gas tank. So if anything, it'll make it a little bit easier for you for figuring out, kind of where you need to put it and where it goes. So yeah, let's go ahead and get the other side done. Driver's side's finished. So the whole kit is on right now. I'm pretty much just going around and finding imperfections that need to be sanded down before I wrap it and before I finish it. Like for instance, you see how it bows in right here, kind of heavy. Now I have just scrubbed it clean, cleaned it really well, and then I'm going to put it on, tack on one bolt on each side, and that'll make it a lot easier for me to wrap it on the car. Never wrap anything that's off the car. You can see the final product here. It's hard to see it up against the brown, but it definitely lost a lot of its shine. Maybe that's what it needed though, because it was definitely way too shiny, as you can see them here. So let's put it right next to it. You can see it lost a lot of its sheen. I kind of like it though. It's definitely got like a unique color, but it doesn't have the shine like it's supposed to. But then again, these are kind of too loud anyways. That kind of quiets it down a little bit. Full bronze. I got the bronze washer with the silver bolt, full silver, and I got the screw that is bronze but the washer is silver. Kind of liking that. That looks really cool. The whole bronze looks a little cheaper than this. And then the full silver kind of looks a little too eBay, kind of looks a little boring. It looks kind of cool, but that silver is just, it stands out too much on the on that finisher washer. All in all, I'm gonna have to make a decision between probably the these two. So, let me explain what's going on. So, see this crimp in this corner? Actually, right here it rounds off. See, there's a lot of fingers here, and it's all bunching in one corner. Well, I need to wrap it around this corner. Even though I got to the edge here, this is where the edge is, I still need to heat up this area here when you start getting this bunching stuff and you can't really work with it anymore. You can actually peel this back, hit it with the heat gun, and then you can actually pull it and tuck it under. So this whole piece is pretty much all, let me turn this light on. This whole piece is pretty much cropped out. Like everything's done with it. Maybe just need to heat and tuck this little corner here, but all this shape is all kind of already done. All it's grabbing is the upper quarter panel and the headlight up here. Pretty much this is probably the hardest part. The easiest part is really laying it. Oh, and by the way, it looks extremely blue right now on camera, but it's actually a royal purple. I think it's just due to the lighting. But yeah, to face this little creasing corner, bunching corner, I had to do it there because when you start in the middle and you push your way down, you'll actually get to where it's starting to come into the corner, the contact of the corner. So yeah, a lot of bunching here. You'll see what I mean. As soon as I add the heat, it'll start loosening up, and then I can take it and I can pull it around. And I'll hit it all the way around here too, so it's not just that area. You gotta heat up everything when you pull under, because you have a little bit doing it, and you can really see the outline. God, this plate is so dull. Now what I'm going to do is simply go behind, take out the bolts, and the whole piece should remove, and that will make me have easier access for me to wrap the edges and tuck around the corners the proper way and cut it out. So I'm going to make probably a whole bunch of stress cuts here, fold it over, finish the piece, and try and put it back on. Here's the final product. Looks blue. This is blue. That cutter's blue. This is definitely purple. On the camera, sure, it looks like it's blue. See these divots? I actually, if you see there's a little wrinklage in them, I actually gave as much material as I could in there. Meaning I made it the loosest over that particular point. So that when the rivets and the washers go in, it'll completely flatten it out and it'll have enough room. Also, when it gets heat, it won't pop back out. You can see where I made all my stress cuts. And then what I do pretty much is add heat to it, make sure everything's pushed out, and I'll cut a little rim around it so that it's not getting all this ugly stuff hanging out the edge, and also it won't come back at all. turn this light on. Okay, so for some reason I'm always infatuated with the sounds and the combination of cars. So we got a bunch of tunnels here, and you know, a couple sound samples would be really nice for the vlog. What do you have on there?
I have a custom ISR Performance exhaust, and you're about to get a fucking whiff of it right now. That's what I do, baby.
Sounds good. Sounds really good. Oh, nice.